Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the banana group story coloring activity right here. As you see right here is I went ahead and drew like on a on a piece of sketch paper. Is it right here is you have right here is a drawing of a banana, and then of course you got right there is a food pyramid, and then right here is a banana right here. And I could probably tell anyone that back those couple years ago whenever I must have been about 13, I think, 13, 14, something like that. It would have been about back early 96, 1997. It is that I can remember that I used to think that a banana was a vegetable. It's like with the V for vegetable, and a lot of people probably thinking about it. It's like with the some it is it's like talking about. It's like I would ask somebody, and they said that it was a fruit, and in a lot of ways it was like that yeah, why did I used to think that it was a vegetable? It was, well, maybe just the way that it looked and the way it tasted, and maybe the fact about that some people may wonder about that is just knowing about is that they don't have no seeds. And then the more likely that I think about it is like if it does have seeds, then more likely it's probably down towards in the center. It is center part, say the banana. Whenever you eat it, and then of course you eat it all the way down. It's like if the seeds will be down near the say the core say file of say of the banana. It is that and whenever you buy bananas, it usually comes with at least 11 say groups of say a single banana that you tear it off, and of course and then you peel it down to the center, and then and of course like talked about, it's like with the banana, just the way it was shaped. A lot it was the way the shapes were that it seemed like that it was more of a vegetable. And I could probably think about that I may have gotten that idea, of course, from the fact about that knowing about that the way it tastes, of course, the way it tastes, and knowing about that whole part about that the way it looked too, that I would the types of vegetables, of course, that I liked, of course, at the time were like what you call like carrots, and of course pickles. I remember that at one time I did not really care for pickles, but on your hand too, knowing about it, for some reason that I used to think that I think I do know why that I used to think that it was a vegetable. Is like like I said, due to the fact because of maybe the way it looked, and then the fact that it didn't have no seeds, and the fact about that, yeah, that anything that just the way it tastes, more likely that it did not, a lot of times I used to think that a lot of fruits, such as peaches, and then along with blueberries, and then of course with say cherry cobbler or whatever, any type of fruits. It was a lot of times a lot of the fruits, pineapples and fruits like that. It's like say squash and cantaloupes. That a lot of times they will be have a real sweet type flavor to them, like such as apples, and then of course other types of fruits that a lot of times they would be like a sweet type flavor to them. And each time that I would eat a banana, that I did not really remember tasting any type of a sweetness to it. A lot of times it was just like normal, and really the only sweet part about, more likely, people I think about, if you ever had you say is the banana split, more likely people probably thinking about that yeah, if you were to try it, it's like, especially like places like maybe an ice cream place, like like Dairy Queen, or if it's any type of frozen custard place where they would serve ice cream. A lot of times they probably say about that if you want any type of sweetness added to it, it's like talking about, it's like you go to one of those restaurants to where that they serve like to say the banana smoothie or the banana splits, stuff like that. But a lot of times it was like that, yeah, that with the banana though, that I can remember that I talked to my parents about it, and like, and knowing about, yeah, a type of trivia question, huh? It's like, well, a banana is a vegetable. No, it's a fruit. Well, you think it's a vegetable? Yeah, I think it's a vegetable. Well, And I can remember that somebody's like, well, we'll look it up on the internet. And if I can remember right, that yeah, if I would have gotten on one of those Jeopardy type games, it wasn't more likely people probably thinking about that. How is it a vegetable? How is it a vegetable whenever you know that it's like that. First of all, it's like it's got to grow in that certain group, of course, in order to be able to be matched, for a vegetable. It is, and really, does it really have a hard crunch? A lot of people probably think about it. It really has to have like some type of a crunch, in order to be able to equal to like some type of a veggie, type group. It is, and the way I think about it, I'm like that. From what I used to think that knowing about that, yeah, that. A lot of times it's like with broccoli. With broccoli, is like gave it a nickname of trees. It's like trees, and a lot of people probably think about why you call it trees, because they look like little, which say you say green giant, or what do you call it? Trees. It is. It's like talking about. It's like for stewed vegetables. It is. But anyway, that. But the whole basic story, of course, about it is like I can remember a lot of stuff about the fact about that. Yeah, if anybody were to say that a banana is a fruit, then more likely that I would probably say agree with them a little bit, knowing about agree with them a lot because of the fact about that how many bananas and peaches and stuff like that have I had since I was a kid. It wasn't just knowing about the fact about that why you think that it was any type of vegetable, but on the other hand too, that knowing about that if somebody were to think about that maybe a banana was a milk, was a dairy product. It's like talking about anybody would probably think about it's a dairy product. Well, it goes in a dairy, but in a lot of ways that I really just think that the whole matter about fruits and vegetables is knowing about how they fit in, of course, in the groups. It is, I guess, that they all come in like what you call like different groups. It's like they all come from, say, most of them will come in like, say, separate groups, but then of course that they are, say, combined together, and which say is like a type of way is like if you were to be making what you say is like chicken and dumplings. It is that I guess you would be combining the meat, and then of course with the dairy products as well. It is depending on what you want in your recipe. It is that a lot of us would probably think about that if you're going to be cooking a recipe. It is knowing about the things that you're putting in that recipe. It is if it's a sugar, or if it's any type of vanilla flavoring, or any type of any type of spices, any type of flavoring. It's like the types of flavors that more the types of ingredients that you would be putting into like what you call a dessert product would be like what you call like maybe sugar and maybe paprika, or more likely than any type of spices. They probably think about not really for like what you call like a milkshake, or like what you call like a banana jello type recipe, but more like you say is that if you would be cooking any type of a spicy chicken dinner or anything like that, then more likely you maybe add some spices to it. But on the other hand too, the way I think about it is like with the banana story, is talk about with the banana that a lot of times that people I probably think about since knowing about how it tastes and just knowing about the way it looks, it was like it's a vegetable. But on the other hand too, to knowing about, I could probably think about after having one not too long ago, is knowing about the fact about it is that it's a fruit, because on the other hand too, that knowing about it has a little bit of a sweetness taste to it. On the other hand too, and then knowing about it's like the type from how if I can explain about the fact about how can I really tell the difference between them, is knowing about that with the banana, that between a vegetable, that a lot of us were probably thinking about with the vegetable. It's that sometimes that vegetables don't really have a real sweet taste to them compared to fruits do. And on the other hand too, that knowing about that whenever you eat it down to say to the center it is, and just knowing about that yeah, that about how much average do fruits and vegetables, between fruits and vegetables along with the dairy products, do they last for, really, if they, after you buy them and have them around for a while. But the way I think about it, I'm like that, yeah, that knowing about how they grow, and of course about how you buy them, and just knowing about the way they look. It's like talking about, with me, it's like yeah, I can remember that knowing about the difference between a tomato and a potato. Tomato and a potato, is knowing about that, yeah, are they both vegetables, or are they just, are they, one's a meat product and then one's a vegetable product, or anything like that. But I would probably think about that, the whole story about a banana, though, that people are thinking about, if it maybe is any type of vegetable, of course, or any type of fruit it is, and any type of fruit that more likely that don't require any slicing or anything like that. People are thinking about that. Yeah, what about coconut, huh? Is a coconut considered a fruit, or is that a vegetable? It is, and I would probably think about, more likely, I think it's a fruit, because it's like talking about with the coconut, that people probably think about that there's juice in, say, in the middle. I have not eaten a coconut, but more likely people probably thinking about that along with the watermelon, it is that yeah, that there ain't no easy way, I guess, to be able to not like an apple, to where you can eat the skin. It is a lot of people probably thinking about, like one of those things that you would see on one of those TV shows. It is like, really, I don't think it's all that harmless. If you were to eat the skin, eat the outside part, say, of the banana. It is, and a lot of times that you see on those TV shows, it is that people would take out the center, and of course munch on the outer part, say, of the skin. It is of the banana. It is, and the way I think about it, I'm like, yeah, that it's like with the banana part of it, and then knowing about that yeah, that's supposed to be eaten. The way I think about it, I'm like, whenever I would a lot of times I munch on sunflower seeds, and a lot of people probably say that the difference between the actual seeds and then the shells, right? It's like you're not supposed to eat the shells, but on the other hand too, that knowing about between the difference between a banana and the difference between a fruit and a vegetable, it is, and just knowing about the way you can tell them, say, in the groups, it is knowing about that yeah, from the exact group, from how from where they come from, it is, and how they grow, it is, and knowing about that, yeah, that knowing about that it's a fruit, and then knowing about is a fact about, is it my favorite? I don't know. More likely, I could probably thinking about that I've the type of fruit that I liked a lot was were like the peaches, and then like the peaches, nectarines, and strawberries and blueberries. I would probably say that strawberries are one of my favorites, and I would probably say that a lot of people probably thinking about that if you were allergic to any type of fruits, it was, and knowing about you just couldn't have them, it was, and a lot of people would maybe thinking about that why. Do you think that you're allergic to the fruits or anything like that? Anything that they could be serving at the table. It is, any type of Jello. If you were eating something that had something in it that you were allergic to, or something like that, then knowing about it, you'd be aware of it. But yeah, I would probably say that a lot of people probably thinking about that. Yeah, if you're going to be allergic to something, such as something inside the banana, maybe a lot of people probably thinking about that there may be some people that may be allergic to onions, or if it's coconuts, or if it's any type of any other type of fruit, from the fruit group, it is, and I would probably thinking about that. Any other type of fruit that I could probably thinking about would be, it's like what you call is like maybe see here, a pear. I guess people probably think maybe a pear. That if they were maybe allergic to a pear, or if it was any type of squash, it is, and squash, or if it was you say cantaloupes. Probably think about, you can't have cantaloupes, and knowing about it's like, yeah, talk to your doctor, knowing about, really, you can't have cantaloupes. Well, guess what? I guess you're just not part of the food club anymore, huh? But on the other hand, too, that knowing about that there are some food products that people are say that could not have or could be allergic to, it is, and just knowing about it, it's like talk about it, it's like that. Just one thing that, of course, that you just ought to think about is that just can't have it, then you just can't have it. But the way I think about it is like that there's a lot of product, of course, that a lot of food products that I'm not allergic to, but then on the other hand too that there may be some, and then thinking about that if I am allergic to some, then knowing about is that I just can't have it. But on the other hand too that knowing about is that with the banana story is for the banana group is knowing about is like that when did I come up to that final answer is knowing about that about what group it came from is knowing about that. I would probably say that the fact about that not only by eating it but then knowing about that I would say by serving, it's like by the serving it was is knowing about by the serving that if I remember right, I think by banana split, and I think it was a banana smoothie, and it made me think about it. It's like the taste difference between you say a vegetable and then of course with the fruit it was. It's like knowing about a type of vegetable that more likely you could probably think about that maybe a banana can go along with. It's like talking about like a type of vegetable it is, maybe besides a potato salad, it is anything that goes with like between a V, the V, and then of course is the F. It's like knowing about it's like with the fruits. Probably think about going from it's like mix a little bit of banana and carrot, and then of course with with the peach, and then of course with the nectarines or anything like that, and be like like the types of recipes that more likely that they have a combination between say these 2 or 3 groups it is. But anyway, so far as there you are, it's like for the banana group stories talk about it's like the story say about the banana, and then talk about it's like for the banana group it's like story coloring.